I'm a recruiter. Why the hell should I use Bullhorn Reach?
Okay, so Bulhorn Reach helps recruiters leverage their social networks and search engines to find great talent. So we actually opened up the beta a few weeks ago. We were in private beta for about 3 months. Then we opened up the beta to a wider audience, to anybody who can sign up. And I would say that in terms of the full vision of what we have planned for Bulhorn Reach, there's a lot left to be done, especially with respect to helping people really leverage the social networks and the connections within their network and of the people that they're closely connected to. So we're really just scratching the surface. What you see today with Bulhorn Reach, I think, is a good tool, and it helps recruiters think about how they recruit using social media. Now the question is, okay, now how do we really help them expand what they're doing, and how do we help them truly leverage the power of social media beyond just job updates or passing out articles or sharing content or listening to their network. I think there's a lot left to be done. Yeah, that came about because we talked to a lot of folks who had websites, and their websites were almost like, they were the tree that fell in the forest. Because, look at this beautiful website, I spent thousands of dollars designing it, and I'd look at it and say, yeah, but I can't find you on Google. And they'd say, oh yeah, we need help with that. And you're looking at this person, you're looking at their budget, and you're saying, you don't really have $5,000 a month to pay an SEO expert to get you to the top of the organic search rankings. Or you don't have $1,000 a month to try out Google AdWords and stumble your way to success. So we said, all right, well, if I'm a recruiter, there are certain terms I'm always going to try to be optimizing for, and I can help with that. And then I can look at your jobs and say, okay, I can tell what type of person you're hiring for and what you're good at what type of jobs you fill, and I can build SEO pages that are SEO optimized that search engines will find, rank, and then will help boost your results and essentially, act like a marketing firm would or a link building firm would to drive traffic. And that seems to really be, resonating with people, and two, it's starting to work. SEO does take a little while to build, but once it gets going and it sort of starts to feed on itself, it becomes a powerful tool. There's so much stuff drifting by your Twitter stream, your Facebook newsfeed, and I don't know anybody who actively looks at LinkedIn updates other than recruiters. You talk to recruiters and you say, oh, do you watch the LinkedIn update stream? Oh, religiously. Well, why? I'm looking for people who are changing jobs. That's a great time to reach out and congratulate them. I'm looking for people who are getting endorsements because maybe they're changing, starting to think about looking for a job, or people who I'm looking for the one thing we thought was interesting. I'm looking for people who just left a job and created a vacancy somewhere else. So those were the three things that we heard. And then we said, all right, well, if I'm a recruiter, I'm probably scanning for those things visually, but I'm not digging into the second layer of detail to say, I see who my connections are connecting with. Connecting with a recruiter might be a very interesting bit of data that we could surface. Then, what else can we do in terms of, everybody's updating their profile all the time, but it would be interesting to count how many times people are updating their profile. Because if you changed your profile picture and then you got an endorsement and then you went and updated your recent work experience, wow, that's a pattern. That person is preparing to do a job search. So we took all of that and we tried to build a bunch of algorithms And then of course we're going to crowdsource how good our algorithm is when recruiters say, I don't want to see this. This is noise. And it's gradually getting better over time. And we said, all right, one, we have an invention we could patent, and that's great, doing it across not just LinkedIn, but Facebook as well. And we have plans for doing it across Twitter. And then surface that data so that the recruiter doesn't have to watch the stream. We'll watch it for you, and you can cut through the clutter and find the most meaningful updates.
Another feature you have is obviously the job distribution side of it, job posting, should I say? Art. This is again, maybe a recruiter-friendly device, and they're the guys that pay you the money. But perhaps it would not go down too well with the audience that they're receiving, that they're addressing. But as I understand it, this is the tool which allows a single-click distribution to the networks that you connected your account to. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. So and with anything, we've seen some recruiters who've been highly successful with it because they know their audience. Right? Mm-hmm. They know when they're overdoing it. They know when they can share more, and they know when to back off. And you see other recruiters who don't really understand that there's sort of an implicit agreement between the people that are on, in your network, that you're not going to overdo it, that you're not going to annoy them. So there's an education thing there, and we're looking at that and saying, okay, how can we help? How can we educate them? Maybe watching their Twitter following for people that are actually dropping off and saying, whoa, you're over tweeting, settle down.
The guys that know, have deep knowledge of the social web, they're just going to say, okay, Bulhorn, they're just distributing jobs. They're just enabling these jobs to be punted out into all these different sort of areas where, the name of the game is engagement. So what's your take on that, Art? Are you prepared to say, hey, listen, I'm on the side of a recruiter, I don't give a damn about engagement, or do you have sort of a different angle on their argument there?
I do. I think that, and actually, they're right. It is about engagement and authenticity, and that's why we introduced the section of the product about articles. And unfortunately, I think we misnamed that because that section, the whole purpose is engagement, and the whole purpose is nurturing your network with some other content than jobs. That you've heard I forget whose law it is. Somebody made up a law that you're supposed to be effective in marketing, put out 7 interesting pieces of content, 2 that are business related, and 1 that's personal.
I think that was Chris Brogan, wasn't it? It sounds like a Broganism to me.
It's one of these things that if I say it, it'll be true, and people will repeat it. Who the hell knows if it's actually true? But there's some truth to, if all you're putting on your status updates is check out this job, sure, look at this job, people will quickly tire of your antics and stop following you, or stop following your feed, or they'll hide you, or maybe they'll even report you as spam, which we're always worried about that. So the interesting thing about that is that you talk to some recruiters and they say, but people only follow me when they want a job. And what they don't want content from me. Okay, that's fine. If you believe that, then you don't have to engage in this sort of the content distribution. But if you believe that you should be engaging your network to say, I'm a thought leader on this. I actually talk to lots of people about. Let's say that you were let's say you specialized in product development. Then you're having lots of interesting conversations, you're following lots of interesting people. You should be able to surface articles around product development that make you relevant to your following. So we're trying to do that. We're crowdsourcing articles. We're showing people which articles are trending, which are popular, which are getting traction. And then when you share a piece of content with Reach, you get a branding bar at the top that says, all right, this content was shared by Art, He has 3 open jobs, by the way, and if you want to check them out or share them or redistribute this content, you can do so here, which, if you were tech savvy, you could probably build something like that, but, Reach does that for you, and it's an automatic feature, and we've gotten a lot of good feedback from people that the articles are how they nurture their network when they're not looking for a job. The passive seekers enjoy the articles and it gives them a reason to follow.
Now, I wasn't too comfortable with this, probably because I didn't understand it, but it seemed to me that you are it's a ranking system for recruiters, but it's based on sort of activity through Bulhorn. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'll tell you what you're looking at there is a test. What we said was we have a theory that recruiters are competitive.
Yep.
And what could we do to create a leaderboard that introduces a little bit of gaming mechanics into the application to test the theory? And I'll give you the results of the test. People love the leaderboard. It's one of the most trafficked pages on the site. And what we've seen is that after somebody hits the leaderboard, they go and they use the product more because they want to show up on the leaderboard. Now, there's some things about the leaderboard that we're going to change, and that we want to really get better at scoring a recruiter and giving them a rank. My vision with that, and our vision is that there are recruiters who are really good connectors. They have wide networks. There are recruiters who have really deep networks that may not be very wide. There are recruiters that have high engagement and that have, that they put out a job and they get instant response. There are other recruiters who distribute a job and they get lots of secondary shares and they get lots of views and eventually they get traction. And then there are recruiters who they just consistently place people and they get rave reviews on service. And if you want to look at the full picture of what we can tell when we engage with a recruiter on Reach, what do we know about them? Look at the whole picture and then say, here are scores on different dimensions. Right now it's one-dimensional. How good are you at using Reach to attract job seekers and attract clients? Okay, that's not necessarily useful to a recruiter in terms of, how can I improve the way that I do my job? So we're thinking broadly about it, and what you're seeing is sort of just really the first phase of, are people even interested? And the answer is yes, they are. So now we have a lot of work to do. There's 2 things going on. One, incremental improvements to the Reach platform over the next, I would say, 2 to 3 months, and people can plan on that. So anybody who looked at it in its early days, you can check back in a month and it'll be very different, right? So there's new features coming out each week. We're releasing new features, and sometimes every day we're putting new enhancements in, fixing bugs, things like that. In early May or mid-May to early June, somewhere in that time frame, we're going to put out a big announcement about something exciting that we've been working on, and hopefully that really gets people excited. We're pretty excited about it, but the question is, does the enthusiasm transfer? I think it will. So definitely once we get a little closer and we're sure we're going to be doing it in May and not having it slip to June. You know how technology can be. We'll definitely be going out to folks and kind of giving them sneak peeks and things like that. So we're excited. So. Well, I think if you look at how many recruiters there are in the world, we have on our applicant tracking platform we have 21,000 users now. On Reach, we've now got thousands of users on Reach. Hopefully, and that Reach is because it's an open tool and right now free to the public. I think that we could have hundreds of thousands of recruiters using Reach. My goal is to build something that's truly great and, really, sort of helps revolutionize, not just evolutionize the recruitment industry. And I think that there's a lot of work to be done there. So, when are we done? I don't know. When there's nothing else to do.